In our headlines on this Thursday, August 13th, here in South Korea. North Korea is exploring its prospects of expanding its troop deployment to Russia to 50,000 soldiers by the end of November. This is according to Japan's Kyodo News, citing Ukrainian military intelligence. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump and Tehran continue to trade conflicting narratives about their control over the Strait of Hormuz as regional concerns mount over their standoff. Here at home, according to the Trade Ministry, auto exports hit over $6 billion in July to mark the highest sum ever recorded for the month of July. News reports out of neighboring Japan are reiterating concerns earlier raised by Kyiv about the prospects of additional deployment of North Korean soldiers to support Russian aggression against Ukraine. Our Kim Do-yeon starts us off.
North Korea is reviewing a plan to increase its troop deployment to Russia by the end of November to 50,000 troops. This is according to Japan's Kyodo News on Thursday, citing Ukraine's Defense Intelligence Directorate. The plan calls for stationing North Korean troops in 3 western Russian regions bordering Ukraine, freeing existing Russian forces there for redeployment to the front line. This new development comes as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has continuously highlighted the two sides' close cooperation recently.
For the first time, they cannot wage war without reinforcements from North Korea. They are now preparing to deploy an additional North Korean contingent on their territory.
But experts say the numbers can't be taken as exact figures.
In the history of warfare, deploying around 50,000 troops abroad is extremely unusual. It may only be possible because it benefits both Russia and China, but under normal military logic, that decision by Kim Jong-un would not come easily.
Beyond military support, the ties between Pyongyang and Moscow are evident. A report from NK News on Thursday also emphasized deepening economic ties. A Moscow staffing agency was seen advertising 40 North Korean women for hire on the marketplace Avito at around $6 an hour, highlighting their skills in making kimbap. Experts say these workers typically see little of that money, with most taken by intermediaries and the state. Such labor is barred outright under UN Security Council Resolution 2397, but has grown more prevalent as North Korea gains an economic boost from the war.
North Korea is the biggest beneficiary of this war. As long as it continues, the chances of talks between North Korea and Washington remain quite low.
Meanwhile, South Korea's Unification Ministry says Pyongyang's escalating criticism of the ROK-US alliance in Japan is aimed at justifying its own nuclear buildup while aligning more closely with Russia and China. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
Here at home, ahead of Korea's Liberation Day on August 15th, that is this coming Saturday, President Lee Jae-myung hosted veterans as well as independence and pro-democracy activists for lunch at the Blue House on this Thursday. He thanked them for their selfless service to the country, commending their contributions to building the Korea of today, where people live in peace and freedom. The president also pledged his commitment to extraordinary compensation for extraordinary sacrifices by expanding access to benefits and bolstering medical support. More than 130 honorees and family members attended today's luncheon. Also, Korea will ease various bureaucratic red tape faced by advanced industries in hopes of inducing 4.2 trillion Korean won, or some $3 billion in investments. Intentions to this end were shared by Finance Minister Koo Yoon-chul earlier on this Thursday during a meeting of the Emergency Economic Headquarters. For semiconductors, the government will simplify building permits to facilitate factory expansions by companies within the Yongin chip cluster. For battery recycling firms, entry barriers into industrial complexes in Gumi and Pohang will be lifted, while green spaces in Ochang will be converted into industrial land for bioplant expansion. South Korea's auto industry is shifting into high gear with record July exports driven by surging global demand for eco-friendly vehicles. Our business correspondent Park Jun-han reports.
Korea's automobile exports hit a new record high in July. According to the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Resources on Thursday, outbound shipments of automobiles reached $6.24 billion last month. This marks the highest export figure ever recorded for any July in the country's history. It also represents a 7% increase compared to the same period last year. The primary engine driving this record-breaking performance is the eco-friendly vehicle sector. Exports of green cars surged by more than 25% on year. By vehicle type, hybrid models climbed 22.2% to $1.65 billion, while electric and hydrogen fuel cell vehicles jumped 31.9% to $940 million. Industry data shows that demand for both hybrid and fully electric models remained robust in major global markets. Shipments to North America jumped 18% year-on-year to $3.25 billion, while exports to the EU rose 23.5% to $880 million. Looking at the broader picture, vehicle production grew by 11.3% on-year to 352,000 units. This boost in manufacturing was largely supported by an increase in working days, as some major automakers adjusted their traditional summer holiday schedules. Meanwhile, domestic sales saw a modest rise, inching up by 0.5%. Overall, while the domestic market remains relatively quiet, the sustained global demand for Korean-made eco-friendly vehicles will likely sustain the industry's strong export momentum for the months ahead. 박준환, 아리랑 뉴스.
The government is bolstering its supply stabilization measures for agricultural, livestock and fishery products amid the heatwave. The Fisheries Ministry will offer up to 50% discounts for domestic seafood at major supermarket chains nationwide through Sunday next week. The ministry has also allocated roughly $23.5 million in disaster relief fund to help stabilize the livelihoods of affected fishing households. Meanwhile, for agricultural and livestock products, the government plans to expand crop growth monitoring and water supply assistance for livestock farms. On the local bourse, the KOSDAQ index has been garnering quite a bit of attention in recent days for its remarkable rally. Our Kim Jun-hong explains.
Korea's tech-heavy KOSDAQ closed 0.29% higher on Thursday at 861.37. While the gain was modest, the index has been on a much stronger run in recent weeks. The KOSDAQ has risen in 6 of the past 7 sessions, gaining more than 30%. Buy-side sidecars were also triggered 3 days in a row earlier this month. That's nearly double the Kospi's gain, making it the world's best-performing major index so far in August. As semiconductor stocks lost momentum, investors began shifting from the benchmark Kospi to the long-overlooked secondary market. Tighter rules on single-stock leveraged products have also helped drive the shift.
When single-stock leveraged ETFs were launched, they drew significant funds away from the KOSDAQ. Now, much of that money appears to be flowing back into the market.
Government efforts to reshape the KOSDAQ market have gained momentum this year. Starting Thursday, 36 stocks were placed under administrative review. This designation applies to companies trading below 1,001 for 30 straight sessions or falling short of the 20 billion won or roughly $14 million market cap requirement. Such stocks could face delisting if they continue to fall short of the requirements. The move aims to remove weak firms, boost market confidence, and attract more institutional investors. A new tier system for KOSDAQ-listed firms is also planned for later this year. Firms will be divided into groups such as premium and standard to boost investor access and market confidence.
This could help address concerns over the KOSDAQ's overall quality. It could also lead to new ETFs and make it easier for pension funds to invest in premium-tier companies. While investment may differ by tier, significant inflows are likely to be seen in the premium segment.
Analysts are seeing room for further KOSDAQ gains. Yet they agree more momentum is still needed to break free from its image as the Kospi's second-tier market. Kim Jun-hong, 아리랑 뉴스.
In other news now, Incheon International Airport ranked #1 worldwide for international passenger traffic during the first 6 months of this year. International passenger traffic hit over 38 million, up over 6% on year. According to preliminary data from Airports Council International, this figure is the highest among 1,234 airports across the globe. The council links the latest finding to tensions between the US and Iran, which in turn disrupted transit operations at major Middle Eastern hubs, shifting some Europe-bound travel demand to Incheon International Airport. Meanwhile, after years hidden from public view, a remarkable section of Jeju's volcanic heritage is opening its doors to offer visitors a rare glimpse into an underground world shaped by nature. Our Hong Se-jung was there.
Showcasing the wonders of nature, a dark yet enchanting cave immediately captures visitors' attention. The Manjanggul Lava Tube on Jeju Island has opened a previously closed-off section to visitors after more than 2 years of restoration work. And foreign students got the first sneak peek through the World Heritage Festival program arranged by the Jeju Global Academy.
It's amazing to finally see this underground world that was previously hidden from view. And the sheer scale of it is just incredible too.
Designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2007, the cave is one of the world's longest lava tube caves. It features unique volcanic formations, including lava stalactites, flow lines, and columns.
Up until now, we've mostly kept our heritage hidden. This festival was created to share the cultural heritage we have here in Korea with people around the world.
Given its rich history, where it was discovered by a teacher and his young students on Jeju Island 80 years ago, the cave inspired more interest from the program participants.
I feel like this is the place that you can experience only here. There is no similar place anywhere, and it also carries this specific charm of Jeju Island.
The journey through Jeju's natural heritage continued. Part of the Gov't lava tube system, Yongan-gyo Bridge is a natural lava bridge formed by volcanic activity from Gov't. As molten lava flowed underground, it gradually curved out a lava tube. When the lava drained away, the hardened upper layer remained, forming a natural bridge-like structure inside the cave.
It has so many history and so many things to know about. There is that history, there is that story that many people do not know. So for me, I feel like, oh, this is really impressive.
After a temporary opening during the UNESCO World Heritage Festival's Global Academy program, the Manjanggul Lava Tube will open again for visitors to enjoy from October 3rd to the October 18th. 80 years ago, young explorers discovered this cave and opened the door to its secrets. The challenge today is to keep that door open while protecting what lies beyond it. Hong Se-jung, Arirang News, Jeju.
US President Donald Trump and Tehran continue to trade conflicting narratives about their control over the Strait of Hormuz as regional concerns mount over their inability to settle their hostilities. Our Moon Hye-ryun has the latest.
US President Donald Trump has repeated his claim that the United States maintained total control over the Strait of Hormuz, even as Iran disputes reports that the two countries have agreed to extend their fragile ceasefire. Taking to Truth Social on Wednesday, he said that Washington would maintain its control of the strategic waterway, following similar claims a day earlier, insisting that Iran cannot dictate conditions.
I don't trust Iran. Why? Are you saying I trust Iran? I'm the last person to trust Iran. They've lied to me constantly. We have total control over the Hormuz Strait right now. They don't have control. We have total control. We own it.
However, shipping data from the Wall Street Journal paints a different picture. Only 14 vessels crossed the strait on Tuesday, compared with more than 130 a day before the war, with 11 of them using a route administered by Iran. Iran's Persian Gulf Strait Authority, the body set up to manage transit through the waterway, pushed back on Trump's claim in a statement on X, saying the strait remains blocked and will not be reopened until Iran's conditions are accepted. His remarks come as conflicting reports on the ceasefire emerge. Turkey's state-run Anadolu agency reported Wednesday that Washington and Tehran, through Pakistani mediation, had notified Islamabad that they would extend the 60-day truce set to expire on August 17th. The ceasefire, part of a war-ending memorandum signed on June 17th, followed months of fighting between the two nations. A senior Iranian official, however, told Reuters that there had been no discussions with Washington about extending the ceasefire, since Tehran considers the truce never formally started and therefore sees nothing to extend. Trump also claimed Wednesday that Iran's economy has collapsed under a U.S. naval blockade, citing inflation above 300%. Control of the Strait of Hormuz, through which about a fifth of the world's oil once flowed, has become the central sticking point in efforts to de-escalate the 5-month conflict. 문혜련, 아리랑 News.
Meanwhile, U.S. inflation cooled slightly in July, offering some relief to consumers and the Federal Reserve, but caution remains in place. Our Isingjae has the latest numbers.
U.S. inflation eased slightly in July, adding to expectations that the Federal Reserve may keep interest rates unchanged as it assesses the direction of the economy. The U.S. Labor Department says the Consumer Price Index rose 3.4% in July from a year earlier, down from 3.5% in June, and in line with market expectations. Consumer prices increased just 0.1% from the previous month. Core inflation, which excludes volatile food and energy prices, also cooled. Core CPI rose 2.5% from a year earlier, compared with 2.6% in June, while increasing 0.2% month-on-month. Lower energy prices helped ease overall inflationary pressure. Energy costs dropped another 1.5% in July after falling sharply in June. Shelter costs, which have been one of the most persistent sources of inflation, rose just 0.1% for the month. The latest figures continue a recent cooling trend, with annual inflation falling from 4.2% in May to 3.5% in June, and now 3.4% in July. That could give the Federal Reserve more room to hold rates steady while watching incoming economic data.
There clearly are some voices who believe that an increase in rates would be appropriate, but given the potential increased weakness in the labor market that we observed in that jobs report, that might make it a little more likely that they hold things steady.
Markets are paying particularly close attention to inflation figures under Fed Chair Kevin Warsh, who took office in May and has emphasized the Fed's commitment to price stability and maximum employment. The Fed last month left its benchmark overnight interest rate in the 3.50% to 3.75% range. 이승재, 아리랑 News.
Elsewhere, Colombia is racing against time to find survivors as rescue crews entered the critical third day after a powerful 7.4 magnitude earthquake, while the government there has declared 3 days of national mourning for the victims. Our Shin So-eun reports.
Through broken concrete and mangled debris, rescue workers disappeared into the wreckage and re-emerged, carrying out one survivor. The dramatic rescue came late on Tuesday, nearly 40 hours after the survivor was trapped by the earthquake, offering a rare glimpse of hope to families still waiting outside rescue sites and morgues. Monday's 7.4 magnitude quake was the most powerful to hit the region this century. The new president of Colombia declared 3 days of national mourning on Thursday in honor of all the dead. With the critical 72-hour survival window closing, emergency crews worked through the night searching for survivors while volunteers formed human chains to carry out debris.
At the moment, we have not found signs of life of my relatives, but we have hopes that they are in there, that they have strength.
As of Thursday, local authorities announced that the death toll had topped 265, with around 3,500 people injured and others still officially listed as missing. Civil organizations, however, estimate that nearly 4,000 people remain unaccounted for, a figure far higher than the official count.
We know we're going to do our very best, and we know we're going to make sure these families are successfully and happily reunited with their loved ones. We're going to make it happen.
To reconstruct devastated infrastructure, Colombia's president invoked an economic emergency on Tuesday, announcing plans to establish a miracle fund to gain domestic and international contributions. Relief supplies from countries including El Salvador are being transported to Colombia, and South Korea and the United States have pledged $1 million and $15.5 million respectively in humanitarian assistance. Officials are now focusing on rural areas where little information about the damage has been released, while seeking ways to deliver aid to the hardest-hit regions. 신소은, 아리랑 뉴스.
This is the world now. In Russia, a Ukrainian attack on the Black Sea port of Novorossiysk has shut down 2 major grain terminals and damaged warships. Ukraine's security service says it struck a naval base with drones and missiles, and President Vladimir Zelensky says 2 frigates, a landing ship, and a corvette were hit. Russian officials say at least 2 people were killed in the attacks on Wednesday, including an 8-year-old child. The city's mayor said more than 24 homes were damaged. Wheat futures jumped 3% after the attack, as Russia is the world's biggest wheat exporter. In the United States, President Trump said on Wednesday that White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt is stepping down at the end of the month. At 28, Leavitt is the youngest person ever to hold the job. She says she aims to spend more time with her 2 young children and will stay on as an outside communications advisor to keep shaping Trump's Make America Great Again movement. In Spain, a total solar eclipse swept across the north of the country on Wednesday evening, turning day into darkness. Totality lasted less than a minute just after 8:30 in the evening. A solar eclipse is when the moon passes between the sun and Earth, blocking the light and casting shadow on the Earth. One viewer said the colors came back little by little, first the reds, then the blues. Iceland also saw a total eclipse, and large parts of Europe saw a partial eclipse. The last time there was a total solar eclipse in Spain was in 1912. In Austria, thieves have taken 210 small gold statues of Mozart from his hometown of Salzburg. Officials said on Wednesday only about a third of the 320 figures are left. The German artist who designed the polymer figures believes it was an organized theft rather than souvenir hunters. He planned to sell the statues for about $114 once the exhibition was over. The remaining statues will be on display until August 30th. 주지현, 아리랑 뉴스.
We've been feeling a nice cool breeze in the mornings and evenings lately, making it feel like fall might be just around the corner. But today, the heat is back. Heatwave advisories are in place across Gyeonggi-do Province, Chungcheongnam-do Province, and parts of the southern regions. As the heat builds up, the atmosphere will become increasingly unstable. We'll see passing showers across Chungcheong-do provinces and the southern regions through this evening, with 5 to 40 millimeters of rain. Meanwhile, rain is already falling along the east coast as easterly winds blow in. That rain will continue through tomorrow, with up to 50 millimeters possible. Tomorrow, Seoul will start the day at 24 degrees Celsius, Chuncheon 22, and Daegu 23 degrees. Then by the afternoon, Seoul will get up to 33 degrees, while Daegu and Gwangju will both soar to 34 degrees. With the atmosphere staying unstable, many areas, including Seoul, could see showers tomorrow and on Saturday. Now here's a look at the weather around the world.
Those are the headlines at this hour here in South Korea. Coming up right after this break is our daily panel session, and today we touch upon the growing ties between South Korea and neighboring Japan. Do stay with us. As always, thank you for now.